Now, a ninth person has been shot in Westbury in Johannesburg in the past 24 hours. This follows the murder of Fast Gang's gang leader Kholofelo Rakubu last Thursday. Residents there are fearing for their lives now and are calling for more police to be deployed. Let's go to our reporter Manqoba, who's covering that story for us and joins us now live. Manqoba, I can see they finally, since you and I have started speaking at 11 o'clock, I'm seeing police presence there behind you, but clearly they have their hands full because another person was shot while they were around the area anyway today.
Well, certainly, Masiho, in fact, we understand that this shooting happened this morning, and the person that was shot here is an 18-year-old boy from this particular area. We understand that he was shot just outside his home. He was rushed to hospital by some of the community members, and of course, the shootings have been going on in this community. We understand from this weekend there have been several shootings that have taken place here in the area, and yesterday, around about 2 o'clock, we're told that about 8 people were shot in one of the areas here, just meters away from each other. 4 of those that were shot are from one family, and we understand that another 4 were shot in a house just meters, or on a street rather, just outside the area, just a few meters away from where that first incident had also occurred. One person has died in these shootings, and of course the police are here on the ground. They have been investigating this particular shooting incident that has happened, as well as the murder that occurred here in the area yesterday. But as you can see, the scene is still quite active. The police, in fact, are wrapping up their investigation here. They had been combing the scene. There were quite a number of bullet cartridges that were here on the ground that just showed the shooting that was happening here. But also just community members telling us that they are fearing for their safety. Many of them saying that they even fear to go to the shops because of the safety issues in this community. And we understand that the shootings have been going on for quite some time following the killing of the alleged gang leader here, the leader of the Fast Gangs, Kholofelo Rakubu, we're told. And we earlier spoke to one of the mothers, the mother of one of the people that was shot yesterday. Her son, who was 33 years old, died in that incident, and of course she was quite inconsolable just speaking about what had happened here yesterday. And Masejo, this is what she had to say.
Wat ek net wil sê, ek het my kind verloor vandag en as baie ouers wat ook al kinders verloor het, maar wie ewe agter die is sekere wie saam met hulle en ek gaan nie my kind terugkry nie. So ek los alles in die Here se naam.
All right, and Manqoba, have you been able to speak to any other person in terms of safety concerns in an area like Westbury? I mean, we remember the protests we saw back in 2018. At some point, the Minister of Police went into Westbury to try and sort this problem out, but every year we see the same issue coming back. All right, it looks like we've lost connection to Manqoba for the moment, but let's bring in criminologist Kholofelo Rakubu just to give us her expertise on gang violence in South Africa. Kholofelo, thank you very much for your time. Just firstly, let's talk about the fact that after yesterday's shootings, police said they'd maintain high presence in Westbury. Manqoba, my colleague, confirms that he did see a lot of police vehicles, not just SAPS, but Metro as well. But another person was shot today anyway. An 18-year-old boy was shot there anyway. So clearly very brazen in terms of the attacks in this area.
Thank you for having me, and good day to the viewers. The situation is very, very worrisome. And my question is around police visibility and what gives the perpetrators powers to even shoot in the presence of the police. And again, I think there hasn't been thorough community profiling. The law enforcement doesn't understand the community they're dealing with, because if now they do that in their presence, that is the biggest red flag that they should have been well informed with such kinds of possibility.
Now, looking at an area like Westbury that has been a problem for some time, in South Africa, for instance, 2 weeks ago or so, when the Minister of Police and the top brass of the SAPS released our crime stats for October till December last year, the third highest reason behind murders in South Africa is retaliation. So clearly we're a country with a serious problem around gang violence, yet the strategy around gang violence in our country has not been implemented. Why is this? Why do you think we're not implementing this strategy?
Just like in many other strategies that have not been implemented. Now, when we're talking about gang violence, let's also tap into gang, what we call gun ownership, because now it's seen as a key South African value, wherein now everybody is supposed to be owning a gun because of fear of crime. Now we can tap into multiple policies that have been mentioned, have been proposed, have been developed. However, they have not been implemented. That is why today, with so many policies, yet there are poor community profiling. There are issues relating to the socioeconomic, long-standing socioeconomic issues, and South Africa is not even attending to them because they don't understand the tenets of the policies that are supposed to be implemented. You cannot be surprised by this level of violence in those areas when there are no alternative. Youth doesn't have options in those communities. All they know is violence. And remember, violence is learned. And today somebody is learning to use a gun, and tomorrow more people will be killed. During the third quarter crime stats, we were told of 120 people killed daily. You can imagine in 3 months, how many are we going to be talking about? Yet there's no strategy in place. The matter is not even treated as an urgent issue. However, lives are lost on a daily basis. And with fear, expect more crime, because communities trying to retaliate, and South Africans probably are feeling entitled to gun ownership, and they would definitely dislike any intervention that limits their access.
And of course, this also is, proof of the concern around this deficit of trust between communities and police, to a point where people feel like they need to retaliate and take the law into their own hands, because second to this was vigilantism. But let's talk about the fact that the police minister, Bheki Cele, did go to Westbury at some point. They asked for the tactical response team, or the Amaperete as they call it in communities, and they came out. Communities said things got better, and now here we are again, back to square one in an area like Westbury. Do we need permanent Amaperete deployment in areas that are, gangsterism infested? Is this going to help?
Now, with all these developments, this now poses a challenge to the South African Police Service. A thorough community analysis will be required, because they are being reactive in bringing Amaperete. Now, if they assess the situation and realize that bringing Amaperete attended, at least reduced the level of violence, or the situation was better, then with the recruitment, because they've mentioned that during the budget speech, we were told of the 5,000 more police officers that are going to be brought in to assist with issues of crime. Now, this tells us that more police officers are needed on a permanent basis, because the issues, when they do community analysis, this kind of violence should also be reflective of what is required. Communities differ, and you cannot, it's not one size fits all. What you do in Limpopo cannot be the same in Gauteng. So community profiling tells us that there are certain communities that need permanent, on a daily basis, and more finance, more resources are required. Because if you check the police station, obviously it has long-standing issues that have not been resolved. There may be poor resources, the infrastructure issues, the members low morale, because some members are saying they don't trust the police because the police are also seen as being part of this violence.
Yeah, like
Now,
Westbury.
all of it. Yes, yes. Now, all that requires financial muscle, restructuring, and the review of the current police station, because obviously there are challenges, there are internal challenges that definitely are hindering effective service delivery when it comes to policing.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and expertise here on all angles. That was Kholofelo Rakubu. She's a criminologist.